Unpatriotic, shameful, destroying our home. These are the words of the Vice Chancellor of Germany and other politicians. They are not talking about war, the climate or racism, but about the new kit of the German football national team. It is very rare that a sports marketing deal is causing a national crisis. Usually, those things are not discussed in mainstream media, but only on nerdy YouTube channels. But the news about the German Football Association leaving Adidas for Nike after more than 75 years was even sent as a push notification by major German media outlets. Some readers were confused about the relevance criteria for the breaking news, but the articles were the most read and commented on that day. Many people, like the Vice Chancellor, could hardly imagine a German jersey, a piece of national identity, without the three stripes. Why is this such a big deal? Think Michael Jordan and Nike, Rolex and Wimbledon, Red Bull and Formula One. Some partners just go hand in hand. German football and Adidas was one of those. Nobody thought this love affair would ever end. So what happened? Welcome to Athletic Interest and how Adidas lost Germany. When Germany won its first World Cup title in 1954, coach Sepp Herberger is said to have said in the rain in Bern, "Adi, put on the studs." And Adi Dassler, the founder and namesake of Adidas, screwed his special studs onto the football boots that the whole world would soon be wearing. The World Cup final became the Miracle of Bern, and Dassler became the nation's shoemaker, sitting on the coach's bench. This bronze statue of Dassler in front of the Adidas World Headquarters is a reminder of this story. From then on, Adidas became synonymous with football. 3 more World Cup titles followed for Germany, in Adidas shirts. During the 70s, Adidas boss Horst Dassler, the son of Adi, played a key role in commercializing FIFA. From creating a television market to arranging sponsorships and broadcasting rights. They basically invented sports marketing, and with it a whole industry. Its strong ties to football made Adidas the biggest sports brand in the world, and explain why the football map looked like this at the beginning of the 90s. Adidas supplied more than 60% of the national teams, and Nike had none. Why does this even matter? Because there is a lot of money at stake. The global sportswear market is worth 300 billion, and the World Cup, Euro or Copa are some of the world's biggest sporting events with a huge global audience. So having the logo on the right shirts can mean big business. That's also what Nike realized at the beginning of the 90s. At that time, Nike knew nothing about football and football knew nothing about Nike. But at the '94 World Cup in the US, Nike co-founder Phil Knight saw the Brazilian national team take the title in front of a record-breaking crowd. It made him think. After conquering running, tennis and basketball by signing the right athletes to become a truly global brand, Nike had to get into football. And Knight had a plan. He told his employees that to understand football truly, they had to see the game through the eyes of Brazilians. And that's what they did. 2 years later, a $200 million 10-year contract was signed in New York between the Brazilian Federation and Nike. Not only was the deal itself groundbreaking, but it was also the way that Nike activated the partnership. The Brazil national team killing time at the airport, the secret tournament, viral Ronaldinhos, Yoga Bonito, and robots taking over football. Nike truly left its mark on football culture. And it paid off. Nike's football sales went from 40 million in '94 to more than 2 billion in 2018. Also thanks to sponsoring the World Cup winning team in Russia. Nike had gained the ground to all-time leader Adidas. But they never managed to conquer one market, the largest European one. They never really got a hold of Germany. While Nike grew to become the market leader and overtook Adidas in more and more sports and countries, German football was always Adidas territory. Adidas and the DFB was almost like a holy relationship. The best players, Ballack, Kahn, Schweinsteiger, Lahm, Müller, Neuer. For generations, all Adidas. The 3 stripes were untouchable. So what the heck happened? How did Adidas lose its edge? There is a lot hidden in the official announcement of the DFB. Managing Director Holger Blask said that partnering with Nike was the result of a transparent and non-discriminatory tender. Nike submitted by far the best economic offer. This might sound like the obvious. How else would the process have worked? But it wasn't always like that. The DFB didn't always go for the best offer. In 2006, Nike already tried to sign the DFB. with 500 million euros for 10 years. That was more than twice the Adidas offer, but somehow the DFB still stayed with Adidas. The controversial decision even went to court because it was a little bit too obvious that something was off, and decision makers influenced behind the scenes. It was proof that the power of Adidas, also a shareholder of Bayern Munich since 2002, was too great. Bayern's CEO at the time said about the potential signing of the DFB with Nike, "I have already told the DFB boss that our players will no longer be available." Rumors had it that the old German men running the DFB were afraid they would have to start speaking English with their shirt supplier. Reading the comments of Germany's vice-chancellor, you get the feeling that some still live in those times. Thinking that it is a matter of patriotism when choosing the main sponsor shows a complete lack of understanding of globalized sport in 2024. It is not about where your brand partner is from, but what it can do for you. Nike pays 100 million per year according to Handelsblatt, so around twice of what Adidas paid. A distribution network of more than 6,000 stores around the world to put your jerseys in front of customers helps as well. Or a storytelling machine that makes people queue for your products like a bunch of sneakerheads for the newest Air Jordans. Especially when you have some serious PR problems. Greetings from Qatar. After all, the DFB is not buying anything. They are selling. And the American company is willing to pay significantly more to be involved in German football than the German competitor brand. Even if the DFB didn't need cash, which they did, it would have been crazy not to take the Nike offer. A DFB spokesperson said they wouldn't have left their longtime partner Adidas for only 2 million more a year, but that the difference was so significant that if they had chosen Adidas because of loyalty and tradition, they would have probably had the public prosecutor in the house the same day for corruption. So they had no choice but to go for the Nike offer. Apparently, the Adidas offer was not competitive. But there is another way to look at this. Adidas offered the market value, but Nike overpaid. Because the German national team has more value for Nike than it has for Adidas. Think about the portfolio of Adidas and Nike. It's not that difficult for Adidas to find a replacement for Germany. France is up for grabs, and they are selling more Argentina jerseys anyway. But Nike never got a hold of the German market. There are two top-tier sports marketing assets in Germany that beat everything else. There is Bayern Munich, where Adidas is a shareholder, so they are locked in forever, and there is the German national team. That seemed to be locked in forever as well. Now Nike got the chance, and they took it. But it wasn't only about the money. It's worth looking at the differences between Adidas and Nike. Adidas is all about the product. They are known for good shoes, good balls, good apparel. Typical German engineering. But they were always associated with institutions, from FIFA to the DFB. Nike, on the other hand, is associated with athletes and known for their marketing rather than the technicalities of their products. They are best at telling good stories about their athletes and products. And looking at players like Florian Wirtz or Jamal Musiala, there are a lot of hidden gems to tell stories about to the world. Athletic interest viewers might know we are a bit biased, but Nike pays twice of what Adidas did. It's the biggest sports federation in the world partnering with the biggest sportswear brand in the world. Nike is among the most popular brands among Gen Z, the next gen of sports fans. The deal just makes sense. German football was as encrusted in its structures as its teams play at the last two World Cups. But it looks like now there are people in charge going for the best offer and willing to change things up even when headwinds are to be expected. It is the end of an era, but if Nike does only half for the German national team of what they did for the Brazilian national team in the 90s, it could be a win-win-win for the brands, the association, and most importantly, the fans. Nike finally gets its big asset in the German market. German football gets more money to develop, and even Adidas might be better off this way, with a free budget to spend wisely on other teams and athletes. Although this one might still hurt a while. Even the famous Adidas Lost statue has the DFB crest on its chest. But who knows, maybe we see a romantic reunion story in 2034 when the Nike contract ends. After all, Germany has some experience with reunions.